Welcome to Things Above Podcast. This is the place where things only go up from here. I'm your host, Taylar, and thank you for joining me for another episode. If this is your first time, I want to say welcome. I encourage you to listen to some of the other episodes because after each episode, I want you to feel uplifted. And how can you do that if you only listen to one? This is episode 35. Let's just get into today's message. Lately, have you feel like you've been in a state of transitioning from one point to the next point? The thing that I have experienced about transitions is a lot of times it's never easy for things to change. It can be uncomfortable. It can be scary because you don't know what you're stepping into. And stepping into the unknown is a pretty frightening experience, especially when you don't know what to expect. At least that's what I've been dealing with myself lately. So today's topic is leaving Egypt. And of course, I'm going to briefly touch on the story of Moses delivering his people from the hands of the Egyptians and leading God's chosen people to the promised land. Can you imagine how big of a task something like that is? But what's even bigger is the faith that the Israelites had to have in order to trust Moses to cross over the Red Sea to their freedom and to leave everything that they've ever known behind in Egypt. The Israelites had to leave the life that they became accustomed to, the life that they were comfortable with, although they experienced uncomfortable conditions. But can I tell you, the things that we are the most comfortable with could be the very things that will hold us back from greatness and keep us in bondage. Sometimes I believe it's important to take risk and to step away from the life that we've always known and to step into the life that we never had, although it may be scary. Because I believe there is something great on the other side of fear. But how will you know if you never take the leap? And let's look at it from another angle. Some of the spaces that we all occupy, we're becoming too big for them, which means they no longer serve a purpose in our lives and they no longer fit comfortably. Now, when I think of this point, I think of that scene in Cinderella, the Disney cartoon, where one of the stepsisters was trying on the glass slipper and it was just squinching her feet up because it wasn't her slipper. It wasn't hers to fit until it ended up shooting off of her feet into the air and hitting the floor and scattering because it was made of glass. When something doesn't fit you, you can't make it fit by force. Because if you do, the situation can break apart into a million pieces. Sometimes you have to know when something is over, when it's time to go, when the season has ended, when it's time to move on. And realize that certain people or situations can be holding you back from what God has for you and the path He intended for you to walk on. I was having a conversation with my apostle maybe like a week ago, and we were discussing doing the hard thing. And basically that's doing something that you don't want to do, but you know you need to do. So last episode, I touched briefly on the hard thing I had to do, which was give up my apartment. Because I love my freedom and I love my space. So I moved in with one of my family members. And as I'm doing this podcast episode right now, I'm recording sitting in my car. But one day I know I will be able to look back on that situation and laugh. And remember where God has brought me from. Things may not be looking promising at this moment, but I know sooner or later it's going to get better. Things are going to get sweeter. If God is encouraging you and telling you to leave a place, leave something behind, be obedient. Don't decide to ride that situation or place till the wheels fall off, because when the wheels finally do fall off, you may injure yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It depends on what it is. But just know, leaving the Egypts in our lives require us to have faith and to trust that there is better, even when the situation doesn't look promising or it looks like a dead end. Just remember, God will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. If he's telling you to move in a certain direction, it's important to trust him. Before I conclude today's episode, I want to give y'all today's scripture of focus. It's Ephesians chapter 4, verses 22 through 24, and it states, "You were taught with regard to your former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." So as you can see, leaving behind the former things is not bad. It's actually beneficial to your spiritual walk, because you are allowing God to take heavy loads off of you, to take away abuse and bondage, to step out of the storm and to begin to see brighter days. I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. This is Things Above Podcast, the place where things only go up from here. I'm your host, Taylar Jacquet. Until next time.